Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick. Today we have set number 76067, Tanker Truck Takedown, 330 pieces, and it retails for $29.99. However, I did get this on sale at Toys R Us for only $18, which is a pretty good deal. It's 40% off, which is remarkable considering that this is a Toys R Us exclusive. But let's start out with the little side builds first. So the first little side build here is this little windsock thing, and also there are some fire elements that are just there. They have a disc or a dish on the bottom so that they, stand up, just like that. And the point of this is that you would take your super jumper, which is included, and you'd put a figure on there. I'll see if I can get Cap on. If you don't understand why I'm going with Cap, because it doesn't make too much sense, I'll agree. But, let's see. I'm having trouble getting on there. But, you do have, or there is kind of, an issue with, breaking legs and all that. But, I just can't get them on. There we go. Okay, so you lean them over like that, and then since Cap has unprinted legs, I'm willing to try it with him. And you go like that, and if you hit it correctly, which I just did, it launches these Roxxon barrels. And Roxxon is like a oil company in the Marvel Comics universe. Really, they don't exist much in the cinematic universe yet, aside from just, the name of the company. But, that's how you do it. And you do have to put the figures on the super jumper like that in order to avoid, breaking their legs, and then you kind of pull them forward to get them off. Yeah, it's a little difficult, but, and definitely more so than it should be for, for kids. They're gonna struggle with that. But it, when done correctly, it does work decently. But, that's the last I'm gonna be messing with this super jumper. The actual mechanism itself, it's just attached onto some Technic pins, and you just push it down very easily. And it does use an interesting technique of, putting a panel on top of studs, because it lines up perfectly with the tile, if you didn't know that. And it's just kind of got the red and white color scheme on the bottom, as well as this, the windsock itself up at the top. It's formed using one of these relatively new 2x2 round pieces with the Technic hole all the way through. And you can spin that around because it's just on one of these little Technic pins with the stud inside. But let's move on to the truck itself. Alright, here is the Roxxon truck, and I'm not sure if a truck exactly like this appears in the airport scene in Civil War, but, similar trucks definitely do. I don't remember it having this bright yellow-orange color scheme, but it might have. And the back here just does a really nice job of making a nice, circular shape. It uses these large 2x4, panel things, as well as some smaller ones towards the front. But I think it looks really nice. I like the Roxxon stickers, especially when you line them up right. And, it's pretty similar on the other side, except for this, which we'll take a look at in a second. It has two wheels on the back of the trailer, as well as a little Technic axle to, fit on top of there. And looking at the top, you can see there's a decent amount of detail there, tiles around, and then 3 of these 2x2 gray round tiles, which just add a little bit of extra detail. Put that off to the side for a second while we take a look at this truck, or the cab of the truck, which looks really, really awkward when it doesn't have the back on it, because the wheels I think are a little too far back, and it's really kind of strange looking. The front has a license plate on it, which is a nice sticker. It's got a nice windshield. The roof, easily removable, and it takes the windshield with it. There is a little console sticker in there, and it does fit a figure, but there's no point putting one in there because every figure in the set is kind of a superhero. So I feel like that's a little bit of a missed opportunity. They could have easily, just thrown in a little civilian figure, and I think that would have helped it out a bit. Just added a ton more play value in, without adding too many pieces. They could have just used common parts too, and there's a fire extinguisher on the back. And it does have little ball joints, so you could attach, a different kind of trailer to the back, which I think is another good thing for them to do. But you remember that handle on the back? When you turn it, here, you gotta kind of hold this all together. But when you turn it, that happens, which is a lot of motion for just turning. This back pops off. Sometimes it pops off with the 2x2 brown plate that's back there, and I think it's supposed to, but it doesn't always take it, which is fine. And I like how it leaves this kind of, up in the air, because there's a friction pin up there, and it sends some 3 flames up in the air. And you can also take these 2 flames if you want and place them in there to just create a little bit more, flaminess, I guess. But that's not exactly what it's designed to do. And there is a decent amount of space in there to store some small stuff, but it's not designed to do that because most of the time that stuff will, or that space will be taken up by the flames. And I like how they also include this, or these trans orange pieces to make it look a little bit more flamey, because most of that, most of the area that you see when you go like that is taken up by that. Most of this area is just not seen. But it is a little bit kind of weird motion because this hinges, 90 degrees, but this back section, those gray pieces, travel in and out like that. So it's a little bit odd and kind of, finicky to get it back down. You can't just turn it down, because then it'll be like that. You gotta push it in, you gotta slide it around, and it doesn't always, end up working perfectly. Sometimes you gotta do a little bit of adjusting, and sometimes some of the parts just don't want to stay perfectly flat. It doesn't always work perfectly, but most of the time it works effectively enough, and it's easy to, keep adjusting if you need to. But the back does just pop on and off whenever you need it to. And I think overall it works, and I think the best part about it is that it is really, really, really simple, and you get a cool effect. And I think it's definitely a fun play feature as far as play features go. And there's a sticker on the handle to make it really obvious, but you could go in and make it a little bit less so. Only disadvantage is you kind of need a lot of torque to turn this and push on these, because this does have a friction pin in there. You could also change it and make it not a friction pin. I don't know how well that would work, never tried it. But it does, look good, and if you set it up correctly, you can get it to also activate the windsock, trap thing, which I'll try one more time and see if we can get it to work. Let's see. It didn't work too well. Knocked the barrels, but not the windsock. And one more try, and then we'll move on to the final verdict. Because this isn't, necessarily even the intention. Here's an interesting idea. What if we go like that? That worked well. So that's something else you could do. You could use the top to launch a character, like I just did, and I think that is also a good feature to exist, and just a cool kind of secondary idea for a play feature. And this is definitely something that kids will end up stumbling across eventually. So one more time, and then we'll move on to the figures. That's actually, a really nicely done. Or the fact that you can do that, I think that that's a pretty, great wraps the whole scene together and just creates a lot of action. I suppose we'll start out by looking at team cap, the better of the two teams, And you do get two figures here. One of them is the standard Civil War version of Captain America, so not really special. Comes with a plain red shield, obviously printed with Captain America stuff and everything. And his torso and head are decently detailed, but nothing, exclusive or anything about them. But it does look good, but it's nothing special, and it definitely could have been updated for Civil War, because this is the same version they used for Age of Ultron and everything. So I think it could have used a redesign, but I believe that it's okay the way it is. Hawkeye, on the other hand, is spectacular. He's actually the reason I bought the set, because Hawkeye is my favorite of the Avengers. He does use Steve Rogers' face, but I think it actually works for him well enough. And he has the sleepyhead hair from Series 6, and there is a second expression on his face, unlike Captain America, because Hawkeye's better, twice the expressions, twice the fun. And he does come with the compound bow piece, which looks good, and what I really like about this figure is the purple and black color scheme. I think it's done well, and there's also a really, really fine level of detail. I think if we look a little bit closer, you can see right here, it's not just black. It has the little gunmetal gray print on there to make just an interesting pattern. And there, basically wherever there's just black, that's what it looks like, which is really, really nice. You can see it's reflective, and it kind of stands out a little more at those angles. You can see he does have straps going around his torso, and the purple looks good. I think the purple is a little bit bright for what it should be, but it doesn't bother me. I think it looks better, brighter. Still waiting for comic book suit Hawkeye in the MCU. And these legs have some nice straps on them, and they look good. They're also used, though, in the Guardians of the Galaxy Milano versus the Obelisk set, so they aren't exclusive anymore. But this torso still is, and it also has this quiver on the back, and looks really good, and you can see continues that gunmetal gray pattern on there. So, Hawkeye, definitely a really, really well done figure. And he also has a motorcycle, which we'll take a look at before we get into the final verdict. But let's look at Team Iron Man. Team Iron Man gets Vision and Spider-Man in this set, who seems to have webbed up the camera a little. But, we'll remove that. This is a new piece for this set, this web. At least I believe it was. It uses bar attachments in 4 or 5 spots, and it just attaches that to one of these hollow studs. And I guess you could attach it other ways, but this is the way it's meant to be attached to his hand. And it does have one of these bar studs to hold on to in his hand, just like that. And it works well. I think it's a good looking piece, but the figures, I believe, are more interesting here. We'll start with Vision, because he is less new to this set. His face is the same as the one from the, or all of him is the same as the one from the Quinjet City Chase from Age of Ultron, except for the color of the Mind Stone, because they actually got it wrong in the other set. It was based off concept art, and it was blue, but it's not blue, it's actually yellow, so they fixed that on this figure, which I think is great. Really nice attention to detail there. The torso looks good, it's in sand green, and it has, the Vision look to it. The legs also have kind of a nice gradient, almost, of that purple color, and on the sides as well. And there are some, relatively fine lines there. The cape is this nice kind of soft material, and it has an interesting texture / look to it, which works. And the back of the torso also looks good. And that's the good thing about these new capes, you can just lift them up. And there's back printing on the head. And Spider-Man, well, I guess we'll start with the back because we're here, has dual molded legs and nice torso print, which actually gets updated for Spider-Man Homecoming, because the suit either changes a little or they just base this one off concept art. And the head looks good. I really like these arm printing, because it does include the web shooters on there and everything. That looks really nice. Nice level of detail there. And the torso print on the front also looks pretty good. And the print is on both arms. I like how it has the red printed on the blue. I think that just, breaks up the color scheme of the figure a little bit more. Makes it look less plain. And there is some basic detailing on the legs, but dual molding is the biggest part of that. But these figures are both good. Hawkeye still has to take the cake as the best figure in the set, but that's just because I like Hawkeye better. But he is the only one who remains completely exclusive. Like obviously Spider-Man and Vision both are, but there was a very similar version of both of them. Hawkeye, this outfit is completely unique to this set, and there's nothing so far that tries to replicate this suit. So, but let's take a look at Hawkeye's motorcycle and then get to the final verdict. Alright, so Hawkeye's motorcycle here is very simple. Obviously uses the standard motorcycle wheels. It uses this silver frame, and then the actual chassis of the motorcycle is the purple, kind of city-style motorcycle. I believe it might be exclusive to the set, but that's kind of a guess. And it has an Avengers sticker on the front, which looks good. It is hard to get him to hold his bow and also, reach the handlebars. So, but it does look fine if you just keep it like that. And, definitely nice to give a vehicle to the best character in the set, so that's always a nice thing to do. So overall, I think that this is just a really, fun set. I think that this play feature here is one of the better ones I've seen in a while, especially, when you combine it with the breakable scenery and everything. I think that the truck itself, is okay looking. It, will fit into a city setting pretty decently, but it's not going to be anything that you go out looking for just a build like this. I think that obviously the play features aren't super important in just looking at a shelf and just deciding I want that because it's gonna do this, because you can get a lot, there's a large variety of Lego sets that just explode, but so I think that in that respect it'll kind of be looked over by some people just because it's not the super exciting build that they're looking for. However, minifigure collectors are going to get this set for that Hawkeye, Vision, and Spider-Man. Maybe that will be reduced once, or now that Spider-Man appears in the other Homecoming sets. However, this one is still exclusive, so for real serious collectors, they'll still be coming back to it. But the Hawkeye figure remains a big draw, and I think overall, just kids who are fans of Civil War, and even adults who have the airport battle and all that, are gonna enjoy this to just round out their display or collection, and I think that that's a good thing. I think that this is more of a minifigure accessory set and an expansion pack, though, when it comes to just the target audience. I don't think this is a set that you should just go out and buy unless you're in it for the minifigures, because the minifigures are spectacular and definitely a good value to get those exclusive, or harder to get in the case of Vision, even though he's still exclusive, figures. And I think that once you get it, you won't be disappointed by the play features, but I don't think that the play features are something that you should go out and look for, because I think that there are other sets that are more playable than this one. Just because when you're not blowing it up, it's not super useful. Basically, the set's an action set piece from a movie, and other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think of the set overall. If you did buy it, let me know why you did, because I have a prediction, and it's that most of you are going to say it is the minifigures. because you know, the other one quick negative of the play feature in the set, yes, it works well and it looks cool, but that you know, when you display it from this side, you kind of have the big handle sticking out. So, you know, but you can tell I tried to avoid showing it from this angle for most of the video. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys all next time with another review or something else, depending, but probably a review at some point. So I'm just gonna, you know, stop here. Bye, guys.